goal. How can you not accomplish it?
We talked about extinction. We talked about the extinction burst. The response induction, that second point, can be very, very difficult to program for. One of the tips that I give people when we're training on a new plan is we will say, all right, you're going to run extinction on this behavior, whatever the function is. And if you see any strange behavior that you don't usually see, continue to run extinction on that behavior as well. So if I'm withholding attention for an attention-maintained behavior and I see strange behavior, I'm going to continue to withhold that. So I was working with an individual years ago. He's an adult. He was an adult when I worked with him. And he had very intense problem behavior. Actually, I think I have some graphs later on of his actual behavior. We did a functional analysis, a cool one, an extended functional analysis. I really nerded out over it. But during the process of the extinction burst, he had about a 23-year learning history with this problem behavior. So that's a strong learning history. We were able to identify function, and we ran extinction. We had the necessary supports and setting to be able to do so. And during the second stage of extinction, this response induction, or extinction-induced variation in responding, there was one day like the baseline rates were really low for the problem behavior, and he said, can I go to the bathroom? And we're like, sure, of course you can go to the bathroom. And he went with his support staff, and he went into the stall, presumably to do whatever, and he asked for help. He said, I need help. So they went into the stall. He had stripped down completely naked, stuffed his clothes into the toilet, taken a bowel movement on top of his clothes, and then he was standing on it in the toilet, smiling. And of course the staff member goes, oh my God, what is this? Oh no, this is terrible. And he's laughing. So he gets all this attention from the problem, from the new problem behavior. But again, that's really, really high effort for him. We saw that a few more times. But we knew it was coming, and that's, that was really part of the training process. Say anything else that's really strange that you haven't seen before, please don't provide attention.
What if you have to provide attention for behavior that you see during an extinction burst, like a weird behavior that you're saying, like just due to the environment?
Try to minimize the attention that you provide. Right. No names. The student's name is the number one way to provide attention, really. Try not to name the behavior. Just give redirection. Minimize eye contact, proximity, physical contact. All of those components are attention. Attention can be provided in so many different ways. Any change in our behavior as a result of the learner's behavior can be attention. So just learning how to ignore behavior is very difficult sometimes. I was consulting in a classroom, and we had a plan in place for one of the students who, it was like minimal, low-level calling out. And I said, just keep going with whatever you're doing and ignore the student. And the student was talking, the teacher was talking, teaching the lesson, and then when the student called out, the teacher went like this. And I'm sitting in the side of the classroom, I'm going, what is this? What am I watching here? And then the teacher stopped and kept on going, did it a few more times, and after the lesson, I was like, what was that exactly? The statue moved? And
robot.
So I was ignoring. I was like, all right, cool. Let's practice ignoring. So we had to do some more practice because it doesn't come easily to everybody. So that was on me because I didn't give it really explicit directions on what to do.
And it's not extinction when you say, I'm ignoring you. It's not.
Response class hierarchy is part of this extinction process. So that's our fancy terminology to talk about that stepwise escalation of problem behavior. So we start with our precursors that we talked about in the other room, and then we get up to that severe problem behavior. That severe problem behavior often takes more effort, greatly so, than the precursor behavior. So we have to look at that progression. So I'm going to show you, this is my progression of my escalation for watching TV behavior. So not a very exciting behavior, but this is without fail what I do every time. First off, I'll sit down on the couch, right? And then I just start feeling around for the remote. I'm not even moving my head. And if it's not in that, the hot spots where the remote always is, that's when I start looking around like this, and I'll look all over the room. And if I still don't see it, I'll put some more effort in, and I'll peel back the cushions, and I'll look underneath, and I'll move pillows, because they're so heavy that I couldn't do that to begin with. That is when I used to call to my wife and say, hey, have you seen the remote? That behavior was punished and now has been extinguished completely from my repertoire. So that's when I'll maybe get up and walk around and look for the remote. And then if I still don't find it, that's when I'll walk the 10 feet over to the television and press the button on the TV. Yeah. So but like without fail, I've done a bunch of tech stuff since, so that now I can pull up an app on my phone, and if I can't find it, I still go for the remote first. I use my phone for other stuff. I don't want to have to be a dedicated remote. So like those are the steps I go through. Think about that when you're thinking about these kids and the precursor behaviors. Typically when you see these precursors and this escalation, they all serve the same function, okay? All the behaviors in that response class hierarchy, that escalation of behaviors, all are for the same reason. And that's important to remember for your programming so that you can start to incorporate different ones into your programs and say, this is what we're looking for, this is what we're looking for. This is our typical escalation. It can be very predictable as where things are going to go.